Yup. It's going to be a long 2 hours.
Elizabeth, I think it's very cold and all the students are just sitting in front of the heaters and having their cup of hot chocolate and just chilling.
I see. They are frozen. Yo.
Yes.
Sorry, can I just check though? You said 2 hours. Are we meeting till 8 then?
Yes. But we will meet up until when we're done. If we finish early, yeah, it will be fine.
Okay.
Remember, if you miss certain parts of the class, you more than welcome just to catch up on the recording and rewind and forward as you see fit.
Jacques, on that point, I don't see the recording available for last week, which was the 21st.
Okay, it will be uploaded. I think there was a problem with someone's internet with the downloading and uploading. But I'm sure it will be sorted out this week. Let me just make a note of that, and then I will prioritize that.
Thank you. I have also sent an email to CTN TUT because they sent out the comms today to say there was class. So yeah, but if you can also track it for us, that would be much appreciated.
Okay, please remember also to fill in the register. Do not leave your student number in the chat anymore. There is a register posted. Please make sure that you complete it before the end of the session today. Okay, so today's session, I thought from what we did the last session, because last session we did the orientation and just making sure that we have a feel in terms of what basic numeracy is about. So I want to continue from that. And today I want us to look at the skills on how to manipulate an equation. And once we learn how to do that, then we move on into applying those skills in answering some of the questions that are related to your modules, especially the linear equations. And that's the whole purpose for today's session. The July session plan will follow soon. I'll have to send it to Jacques, and then I will share it with you once we have finalized the July session as well. I guess there won't be any questions because we started with a question, unless if there is anyone who wants to ask something relating to the session. If not, then we can continue with today's session. Okay, so I guess there are no questions. I just want to also get everybody on the same page this week before we even start. Remember, the classes are not module-based. These are skills literacy sessions. So it means we do not talk about BNU, we do not talk about QMI, but we talk about skills that BNU and QMI should be able to know in order for them to be able to use them to answer questions in their modules as well. The other thing I need to remind everyone, especially also those who were not here last session, because also the recording is not available, just to bring you back to the framework that we're going to use in all the sessions. Sometimes it might be applicable, sometimes it might not, but let's try and stick to this, because if you do this properly, you should not get any question wrong, or you should not get lost, because this lays the foundation in terms of you knowing what you need to do in order to answer questions. So the first step says you need to read the question and read it in a way you understand it, in your own words, the way you will understand what the question is telling you to do, not the technical mathematical words that they put there, but your own understanding. Make sure that you understand. And when you read that question, maybe you will be able to identify some facts that are given in that question as well. And sometimes it's also easier if you draw, and especially in your module, you will see that most of the time you might want to draw a timeline, you might need to draw something in order to visualize something. But once you understand your question in your own understanding, ask yourself, what is the question asking you to do? Because sometimes the question might be asking you to rearrange the concepts, or it might be asking you to solve the equation. It might ask you to calculate. It might ask you to interpret. So you need to know what the question is really asking you to do. And once you understand that, you should be able to identify the things that you will require in order to assist you to answer that question. And those are like your formulas, like a calculator, functions, all those things. You need to make sure that you understand what you need, what do you need, and how are you going to answer the question by applying those formulas or using your calculator and so forth. Then once you have all the information, then that's only when you can start applying or start doing the calculations or start answering the question. So what I'm trying to tell you is, please do not go into the question immediately and start solving the question. Try and understand it first, identify, find more other things that will help you answer the question, and then only then start answering your question. And then during the session, we will do the checks, because we will come back and do and reflect on your answers. And I want, at that time when we do activities, everybody, you are more than welcome to unmute and let's have a discussion and let's solve the problem, or let's solve the question. Regardless of whether you got the answer correct or wrong, we're here to help one another and learn. And even if you don't know the answer, just unmute and say, I'm lost, but this is what I'm thinking. And then we can work from there. And that is the whole process that we're going to follow. Please remember also to use the chat function to post your answers, your solutions or answers when we are busy. Or if you have any question, you can also post your question on the chat. So without wasting any more time, because I know I can talk, let's look at how we manipulate an equation. By the end of this 30 minutes or so, or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, I don't know, we should learn how to apply, or we should be able to manipulate the equation, solve the equation, change the subject of the formula. I will show you step by step. How do we do that? So when we manipulate an equation, it's because maybe probably we want to find something out, or we want to calculate something, and we need to rearrange the question or the formula or the equation. So let's say, for example, I have this equation. 4x plus 7 is equals to 23. And in order for me to manipulate this equation, and I need to solve for x, that is what the equation is asking me. So I need to first understand what the equation is in my own term. The equation, I have an equation and they're asking me to solve for x, okay? So what is it that I have here? Okay, there is an equal sign, there is 1 for x, and then there is a plus, is equals to 27. So there is not much that in terms of the facts I can relate to this question. What do I need to do, or how am I going to solve this? Okay, so it means I need to move certain things so that I'm left with only an x variable on one side. Okay, so Is there a formula or anything? There is no formula. It's just me moving the terms around, moving the numbers to one side and moving those that has an X to one side. Okay, so now I can start solving the equation. Before you start solving the equation, sometimes also when you manipulate equation, there are things that you need to know. For example, you need to know that whatever you do on the left, you must also do on the right. That's one way. The other thing is, if you move things from one side, from your left to your right, or from the right to left, the sign will change only if it's addition and subtraction. When I'm moving from left to right or right to left, the sign will change. Okay, so I've got two things that I need to remember. Whatever I do on the left, I must also do on the right when I'm manipulating an equation. Or if there is a subtraction or an addition, when I move a term from one side, from the left to right, or I move it from right to left, the sign will change. What happens to when I divide? So when I divide, or when it's a multiplying, when I'm multiplying or the terms are multiplying, then in order for me to remove that term, I will have to divide. If it's in a division, I'll have to multiply by that term. And we will look at more examples in order for you to understand what I am talking about. Okay, so now we have this equation, 4x plus 7 is equal to 23. Let us manipulate it in order for us to find the value of x. So I have the equation. Whatever I do on the right, I must do on the left. So I need to remove 7 from the left and move it to the right. So because 7 is adding, I must subtract 7 on the left. I must also subtract 7 on the right. 7 on the left will cancel out because this will be equals to 0. Then I will be left with 4x on the left. 23 minus 7 will give me 16. So I'll have 4x is equals to 16. The question is solve for x. At the moment I have 4x. In order for me to remove 4 and be left with only x, I will have to divide. Remember I said when it's multiplying, I divide. When it's dividing, I multiply. So in this instance, 4 is multiplying with an x, and x is our variable that of an unknown value that we don't know, that we need to find. So in order for me to get x on its own on the left, I need to divide both sides by 4. Therefore, 4 on the left will cancel out 4 on the left at the top. The numerator and denominator will cancel out, and 16 divided by 4 gives us x is equals to 4. Because this is an equality equation, what equality equation says, whatever is on the left should be equals to whatever is on the right. So at the moment it says 4x plus 7 is equals to 23. So therefore I know what the value of my unknown variable x is 4. If I substitute that value of 4 into the equation, I should have my left hand side being equals to 23. It should be the same as the right hand side of 23, and I can test that. You do not have to do this step in your exam or your assignments or anything. This is just to demonstrate to you that with an equal sign, the left should be equals to the right hand side. So we're going to do is to test that x is equals to 4. By substituting where we see x, we put the value of 4. 4 times 4 plus 7 will give us 23 and it's the same as 23. So my equation is balanced. So it means my left-hand side is the same as my right-hand side. And that is another way of manipulating or solving equations. Any questions? Is that easy enough?
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's look at another example. Solve for A in the following equation. 7 plus 4A is equals to 3 times 2A minus 1. Remember what we did the last time? Bodmer's rule. Brackets before addition, subtraction, multiplication, addition, and division. The equation says I must solve for A. So I must manipulate this equation so that I'm only left with A on one side. Fact is, I have two A's, one on the left and one on the right, and I've got brackets, so what do I need in order for me to solve this? I need to apply my Bodmer's rule. I need to move all variables that has all values that has an A to left side and move all the numbers to the right hand side after I've removed the bracket. Okay. Now I'm ready because I now understand what I need to do in order for me to answer this question. Let's go. So we have 7 plus 4A is equals to, we remove the brackets because Bodmer says brackets first. 3 times 2 is 6A. 3 times minus 1, it's minus 3. Now, what I need to do is to move the variable from 6A to the right, or to the left, from the right to the left, and move 7 to the right. Now, the first example we did, we said whatever we do on the left, we do on the right. Now I'm going to use the other method. When I move a value, when it's subtracting or adding, whether it's addition or subtraction, when I move that value to the other side, the sign will change. 6A is positive. So when I move it this side, it will be negative. So 4A minus 6A equals, because 6A this side is positive, when I move it this side, it will be positive. I need to move 7 to the other side. So this I have minus 3. 7 is positive. When I move it this side, it's going to be negative. 4A minus 6A, I will have 2A. Minus 3 minus 7, it's minus 10. I need to get rid of minus 2 so that I am left with A, because the question says solve for A. So I need to divide this side by minus 2. Then I divide this side by minus 2, because it says when you have a multiplying number by a variable, we divide by that number. So minus 2 and minus 2, or negative 2 and negative 2 cancels out, and 2 goes one time into 2, and it goes 5 times into 10, and therefore I am left with the side. I'm left with A is equals to negative, and negative will be positive, so I'm left with A is equals to 5. Therefore my answer is option 1. Easy, ne? This is what happens when we do things in class, and then when we go to the exam, we get this. Now this one, we're going to do it together. So one of you must just volunteer to be the person who will do this with me. So let's apply the Newman's problem solving method. Who wants to go with me on this one? You can unmute. We'll do it together. Is my mic muted? Let me just check if it's working. Oh,
Okay,
it's working.
Lizzie, I will
Yes.
give it a shot.
Yes, let's give it a shot.
So we need to move all x values to the left and all non-x values or number value to the right.
Okay.
So start by moving 2.5 over to the other side and it becomes minus 2.5. And then move 2x from the right-hand side over to the left and it becomes minus 2x.
Okay. So we need to still keep 3 over 4.
Yeah.
And this will be minus 2x.
Minus 2x.
Okay. And we're moving
equals minus 2.5.
2.5. Okay, so now we haven't done anything about fractions. I'm going to assume you know how to work with fractions because 2.5 is a mixed fraction and you cannot solve equations while we have a mixed fraction. We need to change the mixed fraction into an improper fraction. At some time we will do a session on fractions. Do not worry. For today, if you don't get it, we will go through this probably in July as well. We'll see when we will schedule the fractions. So to move from a 2.5, I'm going to ignore the negative right now. So to move from a mixed fraction, we multiply the whole number with the denominator, which is the number below. Then we add the value at the top, which is the numerator. So we say 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 will give us 5 over 2. And we keep the denominator again. So if it was negative, therefore then this will be negative. So this will be this on the right hand side, it will be negative 5 over 2. Okay, so what do we need to do here?
Now you need to add 3x over 4 and minus 2x. So you're going to put a 1 under minus 2x. So minus 2x over 1. And then you need to find the lowest common denominator,
Okay.
which will be 4.
Mm-hmm.
So then you take the first thing to say 4 goes into 4 once.
Mm-hmm.
Times 3 is 12x. So it's 12x minus
4 goes into 4
once.
1 times
3 is 3.
and then it becomes
3x.
3x. Okay.
And then 1 goes into 4 times minus times 2. So it's minus
2 times 4.
6x.
2 times 4 is?
Sorry, 1 goes into 4. 4 times 2 is 8x.
8x. So we have 8x. So what will be the next step?
So then 3x minus 8x equals minus 5x over 4. And on the other side, so minus 5 over 2.
Okay.
And now you need to get rid of minus 5 over 4.
Mm-hmm.
Which means you are going to, I don't know, now I'm stuck. Multiply by the inverse.
Multiply by the inverse. Oh, sorry, my bad. Let me get my pen. Multiply by the inverse. So the inverse of this will be negative 4 over 5. Whatever you do on the left, you must do on the right. Negative 4 over 5. What's next?
Okay, so then on the left-hand side, you'll be left with x.
So that will cancel out, and you will be left with x. And I think I'm running out of space.
Yeah, and on the other side, you are going to cancel out the 5 on top and the 5 at the bottom.
Wait for me. So 5 and 5 cancels out because 5 goes one time into 5 and it goes one time into 5.
Okay, and then you multiply the numerators and you multiply the denominators. So it's minus 1 times minus 4 is positive 4.
So you will have positive 4.
And the 2 times 1 is 2. And then it is minus 4 divided by 2 is minus.
Where do you get minus 4 now? You told me it's positive.
Oh, sorry, man. I can't see that. I forgot now. Is the way you're writing now? I can't see.
Oh, okay. Let's write it at the top.
So then it's
Just
one
wait
times.
for me. Wait for me. So we have x is equals to 4 over 2.
Yes. And then 2 goes into 4 twice, so x equals 2.
And it goes one time. So then x is equals to 2, which means it's option number 1. Any question? Any question? If there are no questions and everybody is happy and comfortable.
Sorry, Lizzie, I just have one. So what would have happened if instead of finding the lowest common denominator, I actually already multiplied by the inverse by the first step?
You multiplied by?
By the inverse by the first step already.
Which?
The second step, sorry, once you add 2x over to the other side. So before you placed 2x over 1, what would have happened if I already multiplied with the inverse with a 3x over 4?
With a 3x over 4. So you will multiply. Okay, so let's take it here. Let's take it to black screen. So we have 3 over 4 x let's say it is minus 2x. I'm leaving it the way you have it. Minus 5 over 2. That's what we have, né?
Yes.
So you are asking, what if you multiply with this, inverse of this? Still, you need to remember that whatever you do on the left, you must do on the right. So let's change and use white. So if you're going to multiply by the inverse, so therefore it means here you will multiply by 4 over 3. Look at what I just did. It means I must multiply into bracket by 4 over 3. The whole thing this side. Because if I multiply by 4 over 3, I must also multiply this by 4 over 3. I must also multiply that by 4 over 3. Which will also still give us the same, because this one will cancel out and this will be 2 times 4. Am I doing it right? Was it not 4 over 3? If I go back, I'm gonna lose this. Is it 3 over 4?
3 over 4.
Yes,
Plus
it's
3 over 4.
Yes. So this will be 4 times 2 will give us minus 8x. So this will be x, 8x divided by 3. And this side also you must remember, multiply by 4/3. So this side we have, we can also say 2 goes 1 time into 2 and it goes 2 times into that. And minus 5 times 2 will give us minus 10/3. You still have a problem here. You see, you still have this 3 that you need to get rid of. You will never get rid of this 3, because this 3, if I multiply by 3 over, so I come back and I multiply by 3, I must also multiply by 3 this side. And that's the cycle will continue like that. So this will be 3x. This 3 and 3 cancel. I'm left with minus 8x is equals to, and this side I'm left with 3 and 3 cancels. I'm left with minus 10. Now minus 3 minus 8x minus 5x is equals to minus 10. Divide this side by minus 5. Divide this side by minus 5. Minus 5 and minus 5 cancels out. Then we'll be left with x is equals to, we already know the answer to this. Minus 5 goes 1 times and it goes 2 times. So x is equals to 2. You will still get the same answer.
Okay, thank you, Lizzie.
Okay. Get a screenshot, because if I move from here, you won't get this back. We can't even come back to this when I use a black screen. Okay. Now, here is your exercise. I'm giving you the simplest one to do. Should take you like 2 minutes. That's your exercise. 2 minutes. When you are done, share your answer in the chat, or anyone can shout, I'm done, and then we can work it out together. Then we do manipulation by changing the subject of the formula before we do the linear equations. Also remember the BODMAS rule. Okay, are we done? Are we done? Are we done? Should be quick and easy. Do we have the answer? Anyone?
Y equals 3, option 2.
I agree.
Okay. So let's help those who don't know how to answer it. Okay, how do we answer that? Since we have the answers.
Okay, so Lizzie, it's Erin, yeah. So basically I looked at the equation and tried to simplify it by removing the brackets. So I applied BODMAS.
Okay.
So then your 2 by 2y minus 1 would then become 4y minus 2.
Just give me a sec. Sorry, my pen is not
No,
writing
go for
because
it.
I'm writing with the white. Okay, so 2 by 2y is
4y,
mhm,
okay, minus 2. And then you still have your minus 3 to that equals to 4 minus y. And then you explained that we needed to move all the y values over to the left-hand side and get all the number values over to the right-hand side. So then then you keep 4y minus 2 minus 3y, and then you bring the y across, which becomes a positive y. Okay. And then you're left with 4 equals 4.
oh,
Right.
sorry. I forgot that too. Okay.
Okay. And then you have to do the same that you did on the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So therefore you keep your y values on this side, and you then just, so then you keep 4y minus 3y plus y, and you move that minus 2 across the bridge to join the 4, and that becomes a 4 plus 2. And then basically you now have to add up all your y's and subtract your y's, and that left me with 2y, okay, is equal to 6, right? So then we needed to find out what was y, and in order to do that you have to divide by 2 to keep y on its own. And you do the same with the 6, divide by 2, and you cross out the 2, so 2 falls away, the bottom, and then you're left with y, and then you're left with 6 over 2, 2 goes into 2 once, goes into 6, 3. And that's how I got my answer.
Okay, we all happy? Okay, silence means everyone is cool. Okay, I see also. Sorry, my bad. My bad. Okay, yes, we are. Yes, okay, so everyone is happy. So now let's move to more complex things. In your module, sometimes you might be asked, and this, if you know this now, you should not struggle when you get to the financial maths, or when you get to do your quadratic equations, those who do quadratic equations, or when you're manipulating any other equations and they're asking you to move things around, where they give you y and they ask you to find x. So you should be able to know how to manipulate the formula or equation in order for you to find something. And that is what we call changing the subject of the formula. So for example, if they give us the equation of a circle, let's say we want to calculate the area of a circle, which is pi r squared, and they give us the area of the circle, and they say the area of a circle is 16, and then they give us, we know what pi is, and they're asking us to find the radius. So we need to make sure that we are able to change this subject of the formula. At the moment, the subject of the formula is the area of a circle, but we are given the area of a circle. We need to make the radius the area of a circle. So it means we need to take R, and the equation should be R is equals to whatever the value is of R. You need to know how to do that. Okay. And that is the same thing as what we have been doing with manipulating the equations. Now, what do we need to know when we change the subject of the formula? Like I said, usually there are more than one variables, and then they're asking you to just find the other one, which is not the subject of the formula. For example, we're going to find more examples as we go along, like y is equals to mx plus c, and they ask you to find the value of c, or they ask you to find the value of m. You need to know how to move around the variables in order for you to be able to answer the question. So when we manipulate the formula is like the same as the equation. It means we want to be left with one variable, the same way as we were leaving the x on its own. Is the same concept. We just need to leave one variable on the left-hand side, and that is the variable that we want to solve for. And when we do that, that's what we call the changing of a subject of the formula. So let's look at an example. If we want to change the subject of the formula to u from this, we are given v is equals to u plus 80. So they're asking us to change the subject of the formula. In my own understanding, it means I need to make u on its own on the left and move everything else to the right. What I've learned previously that will help me to answer this question is to know how to manipulate this equation. So meaning I must know how to move variables from one side to the other. It means I must remember that when I move one thing and it is subtracting or adding, I need to change the sign. If it's multiplying, I need to divide. If it's dividing, I need to multiply. I need to remember all those things. So now how do I move u to the other side? Easy. Remember, I'm going to go back to whatever you do on the right, you must do on the left. Then we'll do this one quickly because I just want to move u to the left. So when I move u to the left, u on the right is positive, it will be negative. So I minus mu or u from the right, and I also minus it from the left. And on the right, u and u will cancel, and I will be left with 80, and on the left, I will have v minus u. And remember, I need to leave u on its own, so I must remove v. So removing v, it means I must subtract v because v is positive this side, so I must subtract v on the left, and I must also subtract v on the right. And when I do that, v and v will cancel out, and I will be left with minus u on the left and 80 minus v on the right. But I have a problem because I need u, not minus u. Therefore, must remember any number or any value multiplying by a variable. This is the same as minus 1 times u, which is the same as negative u. So minus 1 times u is the same as negative u. So since I know that it is negative 1 times u, then I can either multiply the side by a negative or I can divide by a negative because it's multiplying. I can divide this by negative 1, and whatever I do this side, I must also do on the other side as well. Or I can multiply by, because I want to make u positive, I can multiply this side by negative 1, and I must also do the same here. I must multiply by negative 1. And when you do that, when I multiply by -1, I must also multiply by -1 on the other side. Then u becomes positive, and -1 times 80 becomes -80. Negative times -v becomes positive v. And I have changed my subject of the formula to u is equals to -80 plus v. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question, Lizzie. Sorry, what I did was instead of bringing the u over to the left-hand side, I just left the equation as is. And what I did was I just subtracted 80 on each side. So then I was just left with u equals to v minus v positive v and negative 80.
Yes.
I know this one is a bit simple, but if I choose to go that method, will I get stuck when it comes to more complex equations?
No. As long as the equation is an equal sign, as long as the equation is an equality sign, like the left is equals to the right, you can do it the way you did it. The only, can I also ask BNU or QMI?
QMI.
Okay. The only time where you will have difficulties is when you have inequalities. With inequalities, you always need to move it to the left because it's very important, because when we do inequalities, which it will be another session, we will look at another session where we look at inequalities. With inequalities, when you divide or multiply by a negative number, the sign change. Now, the challenge with leaving things on the left is the minute you find out that you are dividing by a negative because you're trying to get away from dividing by negative or multiplying by negative, you will find the answer, but you might not be able to read the answer correctly. So
okay.
That is the discussion for when we do inequalities. But for equality, it doesn't matter whether you can do that. And also this equation, you can rewrite it. And it can be the same as what you have. So, why can't I erase? Okay, it doesn't want to erase. So this, you can rewrite it as u is equals to v minus 80, because v is positive, minus 80. So it can be rewritten like that, even on this side. Okay. Oh, actually, I have done that. So you can rewrite it as v is equals to, or u is equals to v minus 80. So let's do another example together before I give you your exercise. So if p is equals to m squared minus x divided by 2, make x the subject of the formula. So I need to make x the subject of the formula. So it means I must move everything that has an x to the left and everything that does not have an x to the right. Okay, so how do we do this? So we know that we have p is equals to, let me rewrite this, m squared minus x over 2. Anyone who wants to do it with me, or do you want me to do it and then you will do your activity alone? Who wants to try? Nobody. Okay, so this is, because we have x over 2, we're going to move it to the left and then move p to the right. And then after that, then we can solve the equation the way we want it. It's easy. Since x over 2 is subtracting. Therefore, when we move it to the left, it's going to be positive. So here I'll be having x over 2 equals, and I have m squared p. It's positive. When it moves this side, it will be negative p. Now I have x over 2, so it means I need to get rid of 1 over 2. So to get rid of that, I must multiply here by 2. Whatever I do this side, I must also do on the other side, multiply by 2. So therefore, when I do that, 2 and 2 cancels out because it goes once and once, and I'm left with x on this side. 2 multiplied by m squared is 2m squared. 2 multiplied by minus p is minus 2p. And which one is the correct answer? Option number 1 is the correct answer. And that's how easy it is. Okay, you have 5 minutes to do this exercise by yourself. So I'll see you I will check, maybe you might finish it at within 3 minutes. Those who joined late, please remember to complete the register. I will repost it on the chat. Are you winning? Are you guys winning? Okay, I see you are posting your answers. I guess you are almost done. Anyone who still needs more help? More time? Okay, silence means you are fine. I see you all agree with option 3. Who wants to do it? Option 3. Who wants to do option 3?
Lizzie, I can do it with you, but I'm not entirely sure. I think somewhere along the line I did my steps incorrectly, but I'll give
Okay.
it a go.
All right.
So what I did was so the equation is f is equal to 9 over 5c plus 32. So the first thing I did was I brought the 9 over 5c over. So I deducted 9 over 5c on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side. So then I was left with f minus 9 over 5c is equal to 32.
Sorry, you left with F?
With f minus 9 over 5c is equal to 32.
Okay.
Then I got rid of the f on the left-hand side by subtracting it. So then I was left, so I subtracted f on the left-hand side and then on the right-hand side. So then I was left with minus 9 over 5c is equal to 32 minus f. I then multiplied with the inverse of negative 9 over 5. So I multiplied with negative 5 over 9 on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side. I was then left with c is equal to 32 minus 5 times the negative 5 over 9. And I put the 32 minus f. I put that in brackets like you did, yes. So then 32, I put 32 over 1 times 5 over 9. I'm not sure if I did this right, though. And then I got a negative 160 over 9.
Okay, so let's because I'm running out of space. Okay, so you said 32 times 5.
32 minus the negative 5 over 9. Then I got 160 over 9.
So it's minus 160
over 9.
60.
Yes.
60.
160, yes.
Okay, over 9.
And then I multiplied the negative f times the negative 5 over 9. And I got a positive 5 over 9f. Hence, the common denominator is 9. So I simplified, or I don't know, I just made it look a bit better by putting the 9 at the bottom and the 5 over 9f minus 60. I don't know what you call that step, but that's what I did.
So you rearranged?
Yes.
Okay. So when you rearrange, this will be 5 over 9 f minus 160 over 9. Is that what you say?
That's correct. And then 9 is the common denominator of those two. That's why I put 5 over 9. Sorry. No, I left it as is. Yes, sorry. Sorry, I'm confused. Yes, I left it as is.
Okay, so then it means your answer is option 3. Okay, So any questions? Any question? If there are no questions, so then let's go learn how the linear equations. And I think that will take us right to the end of this session. Okay, so you should be able to know how to draw the equation of a straight line or the straight line on the Cartesian plane. We're not going to dwell too much on that. We're just going to touch it and then highlight certain things, and then we move on into how we manipulate, because today's session is about manipulation of equations. So how do we manipulate the equation in order to calculate the slope, in order to calculate or find the equation of a straight line? So when we work with the equation of a straight line, we are able to plot it on a Cartesian plane, and on a Cartesian plane, we get the slope, and the slope will tell us how that line, is it positive or is it negative? Is it going up? Is it going down? Is it ascending? Is it descending? So if you have 2 points, point 1 and point 2, so these are 2 points, and all these points have the x and the y coordinates. So this is 1 point, this is 1 point. Every point has an x coordinate and a y coordinate, because at the end of the day, the equation of a straight line, or the straight line, we draw it on a Cartesian plane, and a Cartesian plane is made up of the x value and the y axis, or we call them x's. So, and in the middle where the x and y meet is 0. Below for the y, the values are negative. The values are negative on the x. X is going to the left. So in order for us to draw this line, we just need to have those 2 points. So point number 1 says x is 1 and y is 4. And that is the point. That's that point that we're talking about. Point number 2, it says it's 4 and 2. We just go x is 4 because this is x and y. X is 4 and y is 2, and that is the point. And when we join the 2 points, we're creating what we call the equation of a straight line, which is y is equals to mx plus c. That is that equation of a straight line. We will go into detail just now. So this equation of a straight line, the way it looks, it tells you different things in terms of the slope, because the slope is the change in the values of y and the change in the values of x, which gives you your gradient. So the slope tells me, if it looks like this, it says when the values of x increases, the values of y decreases, as you can see. When the values of x increases, the values of y decreases. As you can see, it moved from being a 4, from 1, when we go to 4, when we are increasing the x values, the y values moved from 4 to 2. So they are decreasing, and we say this is a descending. It is also called a negative slope. It is also called a downhill. If it looks like this, we say it is ascending, ascending. We say it is upward. We say it is positive. If it looks like that. If it looks like this, we say it is horizontal. If it looks like this, we say it is vertical. You know those things, you need to read them. You need to know how to define the slope. but that is not the purpose of today's session. I just wanted to highlight that and brush on it. So when we find the slope, that slope, which is the change in the values, this triangle, the slope, that tells us whether it's a descending or ascending. We use the equation y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus xy. So if they give you 2 points, you can calculate the slope by identifying your points and relabeling them into x1, y1. They correspond. The x for 1 point, x1 and y1, they go together. x2 and y2, they go together. You do not write x1, x2 and y1, y2. You cannot write the points like that. It's always x and y, x and y. So you need to be able to specify the x1 and y1 and x2 and y2 so that you should be able to substitute into the formula. So substituting into the formula, y2 is 0 minus y1 of 10. x2 is 5 minus x1 of 0. So it's 0 minus 10 and 5 minus 0. This gives us minus 10 divided by 5. And we know that 5 goes into 10 2 times and it goes 1 time into 5. And the answer will be minus 2. And this tells me that the slope is negative. It's a negative slope. Therefore, it means the graph will go downwards or downhill or downwards because it is a negative slope. With that, find the slope that passes through those 2 points. Remember the slope, m is equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Ask yourself, between those 2 points, which one is my x1, y1, which one is my x2, y2? And then use those points to substitute into the formula and then solve for the slope. You have only 1 minute to do that. It should be quick and easy. Okay. So I have option, I'm not sure, Bianca, is that your answer? I have option 2, option 2, option 3, option 2. So we're getting different answers. Okay. So who wants to solve this? Who wants to do it? Have you identified your points? Okay, maybe my mic is not working. Mike, are you working? Okay, it's working. They don't want to talk to me. Anyway, so x1, y1, x2, y2. Substitute into the formula. Y2, it's minus 2. The equation has a negative, so I must just leave the negative as is. Y1 minus 3. Divide by x2 is 1 minus x1 is minus 2 equals minus 2 minus 3, so that will be minus 2 plus 3, because negative times negative is positive, equals 1 negative times negative positive 2 equals negative 2 plus 3. It always takes the sign of a bigger value, so that will be 1. 1 plus 2 equals to 3. The answer is option 3. And I guess that is the reason why everybody is quiet and nobody wanted to do the answer. So only, let's see how many people got it right the first time. Davida and Bianca. Remember, you only substitute the values. The sign of the equation needs to stay as is. You must pay attention to that. If the equation has a negative, put the answer of the y or the x in a bracket so that you do not lose the sign of the equation, because the equation has a negative. Okay. And that's how you find the slope. And because this slope is positive, therefore it is ascending. It looks like that. It's going upwards. It is going up. It is positive. The slope is positive. Okay, so once we have the slope, we can find the equation of a straight line. So let's look at how we find the equation of a straight line. And finding the equation of a straight line, it means we need to manipulate the equation. And the equation of a straight line looks like this. It's y is equals to bx plus a. Must remember, when we talk about the equation of a straight line, we write it in this manner, or it can be y is equals to mx plus c, where m and b are our slopes. The only value that needs to be populated when you are done and you say this is my equation of a straight line is the value of b and the value of a. Those are the only two values that you need to populate. The others stays as they are. Y is equals to whatever the number, so it will be y is equals to 3x plus 4. That will be the equation of a straight line. Based on the exercise that we just did, where we found that the slope is 1/3. So the slope here will be y is equals to 1/3 plus whatever the value that we will get. So that is how we will find the equation of this straight line. So let's use the same examples that we had previously. Remember, we did calculate this and we did find the slope for the same point, 0 and 10, and we found the slope to be minus 2. I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that we're not using a different values. So here we found the slope M or the slope B to be equals to -2. That's what we found. So we need to first identify our points as well here while we're working, because I'm going to introduce you to a new thing. So in order for us to find this equation of a straight line, you need to remember the following. Those who are doing STAs, those who are doing QMI, you need to know this equation of a straight line. Those who are doing BNU, in the next slide, I'm going to show you the equation of a straight line that you can use as well. But those who are doing QMI, if, for example, we need to find this equation of a straight line, we found the value of B. If you didn't find the value of B, you need to go and calculate the value of B first, which is the slope. Then you need to take any of the 2 points, whether you take x1 and y1 or x2 and y2, you need to take one of those points and substitute them, your x and your y value, from any of those 2 points. You do not mix match them. You can't take x1 and y2. It needs to be x1 and y1 if you take that point, or it needs to be x2 and y2. Now, there are certain things that you need to always remember when you do that. 1, stay away from large numbers. Let's call them large numbers. Stay away from large numbers because they complicate your equation. You work with bigger numbers. Number 2, stay away from negative numbers. Number 3, stay away from fractions. Now, there will be times where you don't have a choice because both of the points has at least a large number, or both of the equations at least have a negative number. You just need to make a decision when you work with those points and when you select the point. But try to simplify your life, not to complicate it. So let's use the 2 points. We know our equation is y is equals to bx plus a, and we know we found the value of b, so y is equals to -2x plus a. We need to select one of the 2 points to substitute. I need to stay away from big numbers, so here 10 is bigger than all the other numbers, so it means I'm not going to worry about x1, y1. I'm going to use x2, y2. So where I see x, I'm going to put 5. Where I see y, I'm going to put 0. So y is 0 equals -2 times x is 5 plus a. So I must solve for a so that I can come back and substitute the value of a into the equation. So I must make a the subject of the formula. You can leave a on this side. You don't have to move it to the other side. You can leave it on this side because it's an equal sign. So here we'll have 0 is equals to -2 times 5. It's -10 plus a. Moving 10 to the other side, I'll be left with a is equals to 10. And that is my value of a. Writing my equation of a straight line. Remember, my equation of a straight line says y is equals to, and I need to substitute my value of of b. My b is -2, and my x and plus the value of a, which is +10. And there is my equation of a straight line. Done. Easy. Straightforward. Now, this is for those who are doing QMI. you need to know how to do this. To find the equation of a straight line, first you calculate the slope. You know how to calculate the slope. Y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Always before you start answering the question, one, ask yourself, what does the question ask you to do? So if they ask you to find the slope, it's easy. You need to identify the formula that you need to be using. That's the number 2. The other thing, you need to also identify the facts given in the question. Like they gave you 2 points, 0 and 10 and 5 and 0. Identify those points. Do not start by substituting things right there next to those points. Even if you don't rewrite them like this, here highlight, this is x1, this is y1, this is x2, this is y2. Just make sure that you identify the points before you go into the equation and substitute. Then once you have identified the point, use the formulas, calculate, and Bob is your uncle. Manipulate the equation the way you want to manipulate it in order for you to find the value that you are looking for, and then you will have your answer. Okay, any questions regarding this? Are you lost? Are you good? Are you still here or am I alone?
Still here.
Still here.
Okay.
Okay, Lizzie.
Okay, so let's look at the BNU. So for BNU, the same thing, the equation of a straight line needs to look like this. It has to look like that because that's the equation of a straight line. So given the same example, determine the equation of a straight line that goes through the 2 points. So I'm given 2 points. I can just identify the points x1, y1, x2, y2. The equation of a straight line in BNU, the equation of a straight line looks like this. That is your equation of a straight line. Y minus y1. So you're going to substitute those values, only those ones. You can substitute those 2 values. Y and x, you cannot substitute them because you do not have x and y. You have x1, y1, x2, y2. That's what you have. So given that equation of a straight line, you're going to identify your points. My x1, y1, x2, y2. I have my point. Now I can just substitute into the formula. Where I see y1, I will put 10. Where I see x1, I will put 0. Same thing where I see x2, I'll put 5. Where I see y2, I'll put 0. Substitute into the formula and solve the equation. 0 minus 10, we've already did this. It was minus 10 divided by 5, which is the same as minus 2. This side is the same as your slope. This is your slope, or what we call the B on this equation. That is your slope. So we do have our slope of 2. Now, remember, we need to manipulate the equation because we need to make y the subject of the formula in this instance. We need to be left with y because the equation says y is equals to bx plus a. So in order for us to leave x on its own, we need to multiply because x minus 0 is dividing on this side. We will need to multiply by x minus 0, or we can multiply by x because x minus 0 is the same as x. So multiplying by x minus 0 on this side and also on this side. This side will cancel out. We will be left with y minus 10 is equals to minus 2 times x minus 0. And we're going to remove the bracket. So minus 2 times x is minus 2. Minus 2 times 0 is 0. So this will be minus 2. And then we need to take minus 10 to the other side. as well. So we'll have minus 2x plus 10. As you can see, it looks exactly the same. And that's how you find the equation of a straight line. Let's do an exercise. Given 2 points, find the equation of a straight line. We know the equation of a straight line is y is equals to bx plus a, or y is equals to ax plus b. You can use whatever the equation you know, or you can use y is equals to mx plus c, or y is equals to ax plus b. They work out exactly the same. They are all equation of a straight line. Those who are doing BNU, y minus y1 divided by x minus x1 is equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. This is for BNU. There is nothing wrong, even those who are doing QMI, in using the same formula, but you need to remember sometimes it will not be given. Oh, since you're writing online, it doesn't really matter. So you need to write it next to your notes so that you can always remember that. That is also another formula to calculate the equation of a straight line. So, reading the question, from your understanding, you need to ask yourself, oh, I'm given 2 points and I'm asked to find the equation of a straight line. So the question is asking me to determine the equation of a straight line. So I have 2 points. I can just identify my 2 points. So I'm already doing it for you now. I'm given 2 points and I can just identify my 2 points. This is x1, this is y1. This will be x2, this will be y2. So I've identified that. What other things will help me to answer this question? These are the things that will help me answer the question, which are my formulas. So since I know my formulas, I can just substitute into the formula. So we're going to use the BNU one. So those who are doing QMI, you can use your other method. I prefer this method because it's easy and straightforward. Once you do minus y1 divided by x minus x1 is equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So who wants to do it with me? Because I did the other one alone. Anyone? We have everything we need. You just talk through the steps with me. You relay them, I write them.
Okay, okay, Lucy, let me try. Okay, so substitute y2 with minus 6 and y1 with minus 2. So minus sign and then brackets minus 2 over x2, which is 5 minus 3 and then minus 6 positive 2, so minus 1 times minus 2 is plus 2.
Wait, where are we now?
We are...
Which method are you using now? Sorry.
QMI.
Oh, you're using the QMI method. Okay, so you should have said, okay, so I must just move away from that. So now, let's say we calculate in B. Okay, carry on.
Okay, so now we want to say minus 6 and then plus 2. And 5 minus 3 is 2. So it's minus 4 over 2, which gives you minus 2.
Okay.
Okay. Then we're going to use the first point, which is 3 and minus 2, substitute for x and y
Okay.
into your formula. Yeah?
So your y.
So it's minus 2 equals, b is minus 2, so yeah, and x is 3, so times 3 plus a. And then you're going to say minus 2 on the left. Or in fact, yeah, okay, yeah. And then minus 2 times 3 is minus 6 plus a. And then you want to take minus 6 to the left, which becomes plus 6 minus 2 equals a. So a equals 4.
So let's write the equation of a straight line. Our b.
Your b is minus 2.
X.
X plus 4.
And that will be option
4.
Option 4. Any question? Anyone who is lost? So we can try the next exercise with the other method. So that's how to answer that exercise. Let's do the other exercise with a different method. Y minus y1 divided by x minus x1 equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. What do we need to do here? What is the first step that we need to do?
Sorry, Lizzie, is there just a possibility before we start with this one that you can just go back to the last page? I just want to check something quickly, please. I'll just be a second.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Lizzie.
Okay. Since you unmuted yourself, what do we need to do here?
That's not fair. I'm QMI, so to be honest, I didn't take note of this formula.
No, it doesn't matter from which side you answer this question, whether you use the y is equals to something something or you use this method. What is the first step that you need to do?
Okay, so we're going to determine the slope first of the line.
Before the slope?
Do you mean establishing what is y1 and what is y2?
Yes.
And x2. Okay, sorry. So we're gonna establish that minus 2 is x1 and 3 is y1.
Okay.
And minus 3 is x2 and 2 is y2.
Okay, so if you know those, it should be easy. You just substitute into the formula.
Okay.
Okay.
So should I go on? Okay, so we will have y minus 2. Sorry, y minus 3. I'm sorry. Over x minus 2. is equal to 2 minus 3 over minus 3 minus minus 2. And then I would simplify the one on the right hand side first.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So that will be minus 3 plus 2 at the bottom, if I'm not mistaken, because a negative and a negative.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, sorry, I just lost connection there. So at the bottom, we will have minus 3 plus 2 because it is a negative and a negative, which will bring us minus 1.
Okay.
And then on the other side, we have the y minus 3 over x plus 2. And then from here onwards, I'm not really. I think I will multiply by x plus 2 on this, x plus 2 over 1 and x plus 2 over 1 on each side. I'm not sure.
Okay. You
So
are
then
on the right track. Yes.
Okay. So then I will be left with y minus 3 is equal to negative x plus 2 over 1.
Okay. So here we have negative 1 divided by negative 1. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is the same as
Positive 1. Oh, sorry.
positive 1. So we can actually from here say this is positive 1. So it's the same as 1 times x plus 2.
Okay.
Né?
So then,
So
yeah,
then the 1 times x plus 2 will just give us
x plus 2.
x plus 2.
And then we'll bring the 3 over, add 3 on each side, and then we will be y is equal to x plus 2 plus 3, which will give us x plus 5.
And which is option number 5.
Can I use this at any point for QMI
Yes.
as well? It wouldn't be a difference in my answer, right?
Yes. So on your note, where you have the equation of a straight line, say y is equals to, I don't know which equation you are using, ax plus b, or y is equals to mx plus c, y is equals to bx plus a, say or, and then you write that equation. They will all give you the same equation. So you say this is for straight line, equation of a straight line. You just make yourself that note somewhere so that you don't forget. You can either use this or you can use that. You can use either one of them. This is the easiest one. It's the simplest one to use because when you use this equation, you already get the answer in a form of an equation of a straight line. When you use this equation, you first need to find the slope. So for this one, you first need to find the slope. Then you need to substitute the slope and the points and find A or B or C, whatever the values are. And then only once you have the value of your slope or your A and your slope, then you can find y is equal, you substitute those values into y is equals to ax plus b. You just substitute it back. Whereas with this one, you can see that you go straight. This equation takes you straight to the equation of a straight line without knowing the slope, this and this and this and this. So I have an activity that you can do on your own. You can write it down and see if you are able to answer that question. Determine the equation of a straight line which passes through the point. What you always need to remember is the minute you see they talk about the equation of a straight line and they give you 2 points, just go and identify your points. It makes life easier because then once you have identified your point, when you substitute into the equation, you will not have any problems with substituting wrong information into the wrong formula. So always, before we recap, any question, any comment, any question? Are you happy? Please remember to complete the register if you haven't done that. No question. No comment. Nothing. Zero.
No question, no comment.
Are you guys happy? Are you fine? Do you see the light at the end of the tunnel?
The light is very far away, but yes.
Was it worth it? More sessions? What kind of sessions do you like to have going forward, since you guys are doing different modules and you're doing different assignment at different points, which then tells me also I need to make sure that I align with at least some of the things that you do. Do you want for July to concentrate on financial math? Or should
Yes,
we go back
please.
to
Yes,
doing
please,
the
Lizzie.
first part of the sessions? Okay, so we'll concentrate on skills on how to do financial math questions. And then probably that will be July. And then we'll have to go back to the other skills that you need to learn. Like, for example, those who are doing BNU, I know that most of the questions comes from fractions, so we need to do fractions. You need to do LCMs. You need to know how to find the lowest common factors. We need to do skills on measurement. I know that most people struggle with finding especially the volume and the area. Solving equations where you need to find the measurements and also doing the conversions. So we'll need to go back to those. But priority right now will be financial maths. So we'll start with financial maths in July. Any other question, comments?
I have a question, yes, Lizzie, but it's not related to what we've just done. I just wanted to know if there's any possibility that you can just show us how to work with linear equations in two variables, where we need to set two linear equations from maybe given information, or if that is a possibility.
Yeah, it is a possibility. So there are chapters that BNU is not doing and QMI is doing. And QMI, you do more chapters than the BNU, and those are the other things that I need to take into consideration when I create this session plan so that I do not leave the others out as well, because
Okay.
for QMI, you need to know how to also do the linear equation when we have simultaneous equations. You also need to know how to work out the linear equations when we have linear inequalities. And I think most people also struggle with how to answer questions when you have to manipulate two linear systems. And also how to manipulate linear systems when you have inequalities. So, and those are the two skills that you need. But BNU does not have those challenges because they do not cover those kind of sections. So
Okay.
I will see. Maybe we will have to have the QMI session, not the QMI. We will have to have these sessions twice, one on a Monday and one on a Saturday. But I'll check with Jack as well, because I don't want to only do one session after the other for that is relating to QMI and not to BNU, because that's not the purpose of the skills. The purpose of the skills is to give everybody the skills. But I know that even though we do for everybody can attend, but some of the skills might not benefit the BNU students right now, but it might benefit them in the near future. Like, for example, next year when they register for the QMI. So it's those things that I need to also take into consideration as well when I do my planning.
Liz, do we know how many of us are QMI and how many of us are BNU?
In Western Cape,
in this
there are
tutor?
more than 300 students.
Oh, okay.
So
I meant in our group.
there are a lot of students who are doing BNU. There are a lot of students who are doing QMI. But those who attend the session, I'm going to assume that I might say it's 50-50 and I might be wrong. I don't know. Okay, so before we continue and talk too much, let's just recap on what we just did so that we can close off the session. So you have learned how to manipulate equations, how to solve an equation, how to change the subject of the formula, and how to determine the slope and the equation of a straight line in one session. So you've covered a lot. Those who are doing BNU, probably most of this applies to most of the questions in your exam, actually, because in the exam you are asked a lot of questions where you need to manipulate an equation, solve for A, solve for X, solve for H. Those who are doing QMI, what is more relevant in this instance is the linear equations and also changing the subject of the formula, because I think you also do a lot of changing the subject of the formula. So, but it's all applicable for all the modules, because even when you do financial math, sometimes they might ask you to find the interest rate. So it means you need to manipulate the future value equation in order for you to find the interest, or to find the period, or to find the principal amount. So all of them is all about changing the subject of the formula or manipulating the equation in order to find an X variable. So whatever we've learned today, please remember it. Practice makes perfect. So practice, go through your tutorial letters, go through your workbook, find questions, more questions relating to what we just covered. See if you can answer those. Go through your past exam papers as well and see if you can answer the question. Remember, if you are struggling, we are always here to help you. At the moment, I'm not going to say anything further than you have the WhatsApp groups. So everybody has joined the module WhatsApp group that's relating to their module, because I don't want you to be in the same group. And if you have any questions relating to your module, you can share with the rest of the group and they can help you. At some point, not now, at some point, I will share with you how you can schedule the one-on-one sessions, because you are so many. There is a way that you can schedule a one-on-one session with me, but not now, please, not now. Don't ask for one-on-ones, not now. I will let you know when you can start scheduling them. At the moment, if you have any challenge, any problem, if it's administrative issue, if it is technical issues, recordings not there, send an email to ctntat@unisa.ac.za. If I can go back to the original slide at the beginning. Let me go to the beginning. Oh, sorry. It's all my actions. Now I'm not gonna get there. Oh yeah, I am. So take out that email address, ctntat@unisa.ac.za. If you have any issues, administrative issues when it comes to facilitations, or the recording is not there, or anything administrative, you can send them an email there. You don't have to CC me when you send emails about technical issues and administrative issues, but if it's if you need assistance with your module, you can send it to ctntat, but copy me so that they know who to forward the email to. But not as yet. I am very preoccupied right now. I don't have enough hours in the day to assist. But very soon my hours will open up, and then we can start scheduling the one-on-one sessions if you are really struggling. But otherwise, the WhatsApp group is there. And have a lovely evening. See you next week. Any question, any comment? I'm going to stop the recording right now. Please remember to complete the register. And sorry, I'm going to post it again back onto the chat.
Can I ask a quick question to QMI peeps? Just want to check, has everybody completed their second assignment yet?
No, we're still busy with it.